All units, traditionally for Subaru, are of the boxer type and are equipped with a timing chain drive. 15 engines are quite reliable, although they cannot do without unpleasant incidents. For example, many owners note increased oil consumption, which by 100,000 kilometers usually reaches the level of 1.0 to 1.5 liters, from replacement to replacement. The problem concerns, first of all, Subaru with FB20B. In some cases, which can be counted on one hand, the owners complained about high oil consumption at an earlier date after 40 to 60,000 kilometers. When confirming the fact of oil burner, the cylinder block assembly, the so-called short block, was subject to replacement. The manufacturer acknowledged the defect, citing poor quality piston rings. In 2014, the node was modified, and the issue, theoretically, was settled. The mileage of fresh cars is still small, so it is too early to judge the solution to the problem. Another few owners complain about extraneous sounds, churring, when starting a cold engine or during its operation after warming up. In the first case, according to the assumption of a number of mechanics, the chain tensioner is to blame. It does not completely take up the slack. Craftsmen even developed the technology of tensioning the chain. In the second case, among the suspects were the AVCS valve, active valve control systems, and all the same notorious piston rings and timing chain. After contacting the service with extraneous sounds, while the engine was running, some owners received a new short block. Fortunately, the above defects are extremely rare. However, during operation one has to face other disadvantages. For example, the low oil level sensor in the engine may suddenly light up. In this case, the oil level will be normal. As a rule, it is possible to extinguish the signaling device after the banal ignition is turned off. If the sensor still does not come to life, then it should be replaced. The manufacturer recommends doing so in his technical bulletin, where he admits a defect that can appear on any run. But difficulties with launching may arise after 50 to 70,000 kilometers. One of the assumptions is that the incorrect firmware of the engine control unit is to blame for this. At the same time, many manage to get rid of the disadvantage by disassembling and cleaning the starter parts. Subaru 15 cars are equipped with two types of gearboxes, 5 or 6-speed manual, depending on the engine, or Lineartronic CVT. It is worth noting that Subaru's continuously variable automatic transmission is very reliable. In any case, CVTs from other manufacturers are significantly inferior in durability. There were no complaints about the manual transmission either. No less worthy reliability is demonstrated by the all-wheel drive system. 15 is equipped with two types of all-wheel drive systems. In models with mechanics, a permanent all-wheel drive scheme with an interaxle self-locking differential and viscous coupling (CDG) is used. Under normal conditions, the torque is distributed between the axles in a ratio of 50 to 50. Paired with the CVT is an active torque distribution (ACT) scheme that sends 60% of the power to the front wheels and 40% to the rear. When changing road conditions, the multiplate clutch instantly redistributes torque between the axles. Suspension: small Subaru was not so resistant. Wheel bearings, shock absorbers and front levers may require replacement after 50 to 80,000 kilometers. By this time, the steering rack may also knock. Perhaps the whole point is not in the strength of the nodes, but in the characteristics of the suspension. She is so omnivorous that many owners, forgetting, stop slowing down in front of the pits. The result is obvious: leaky racks and torn silent blocks. As for the steering rack, the manufacturer recognizes the presence of knocks, but does not consider this a defect. Representatives of Subaru refer to the design feature and assure that they are working to minimize the unpleasant effect. However, especially persistent owners manage to replace the knocking steering rack at the expense of the manufacturer. Modern cars have a delicate paintwork and thin body iron. All this is present in the Subaru XV. The body quickly acquires chips, especially the hood, and iron is easily deformed when stones hit. The windshield is also not particularly durable, which is overwritten over time, and encounters with stones for it end in cracks. The heated glazing of fog lamps does not like water and snow, it can burst. Salon 15 also echoes the economy trend. Over time, the plastic begins to creak, and the painted decorative elements wear out. Some owners complain about the stratified steering wheel cover. Another misfortune is the creaking of the backs of the front seats. The defect is eliminated by dealers by installing special bushings on the back frame. In addition, there is damage to the side supports of the seats. This happens due to the destruction of the foam rubber rubbing against the metal frame. Finally, it is worth mentioning individual cases of failure of the air conditioning compressor, cold air stops blowing, and the noise of the heater fan. Lubrication is required.